So, very good evening, friends. Today we'll start with chapter 9. And on chapter 8, we'll be framing case studies and we'll be sharing it in the group very soon for sufficient practice. So, at least we are planning to frame at least 20 case studies so that there is sufficient number of case studies on each and every social audit standard. Basically, these are all based on social audit standards. In the meantime, we can discuss chapter 9. I think I have already shared the PPTs regarding chapter 9 with you, but those were shared initially. So I'll again share it. And there are some video lectures also, which have been prepared by my staff who is doing CA. That girl is doing CA and she is very good. So she has studied the SEBI regulations in detail and she has made some videos also. So I'll be sharing it again. So chapter 9, disclosure norms, reporting requirements by social auditors and penalties. So social enterprises we know are two types, NPOs and FPEs, for-profit enterprises that are listed on the social stock exchanges. So social stock exchanges are required to disclose social impact reports, which shall cover several aspects such as strategic intent, planning, approach, impact scorecard, etc. So NPOs that are either registered or listed on social stock exchange shall have to disclose on general, governance, and financial aspects. So these are the three aspects. So they can frame a question on this also. General, governance, and financial aspects. In addition to social impact reporting requirements, for-profit enterprises that have listed their equity or debt instruments are required to comply with the disclosure requirements according to their applicable judgment, such as on main board, on small and medium enterprise platform, on innovators growth platform, etc. So each of these disclosure requirements are discussed in the subsequent sections. For your reference, I will be sharing with you these SEBI regulations also. And I think there are some video lectures also on SEBI regulations. So I will be disclosing those SEBI ICDR regulations also, so you can go through them also. And I think I have already shared some questions as well with you in the group, but I will share it again. So disclosure as per SEBI ICDR. So Soni Chako ji, have you gone through these SEBI regulations? वो जो मैंने ग्रुप में डाले थे?
Yeah, somewhat I gone. I can share some questions.
Okay. So disclosure norms. So please share them again. I think I've shared some videos also, 2-3 videos also, and these regulations and questions on them. So disclosure as per SEBI ICDR regulations. So first are the disclosure norms for NPOs on social stock exchange. So minimum initial disclosure requirements for NPOs raising funds through the issuance of zero coupon, zero principal instruments in terms of regulation 292K1 of the ICDR regulations. So these are the minimum initial disclosure requirements for NPOs raising funds through the issuance of zero coupon, zero principal instruments. So social stock is, yes.
There's one doubt here that NPO has to register and listed in the SSC, but FP does not require registration. Why that registration is not required? For profit enterprises, registration is not required. Just listing is enough. Why that is that?
No, actually, if you read the first paragraph, so first paragraph says FPEs that have listed their equity or debt instruments. Actually, they are assuming that the for-profit enterprises, they are already doing business. So they might have already listed their equity or debt instruments.
Okay.
And now suppose and now if they are working in this field, so they will comply with the disclosure requirements according to their applicable segment. So it means that it is assuming, so there is an underlying assumption that for-profit enterprises are already registered with the stock exchange and some platform is already applicable to them. Suppose they are listed on main board, they are listed on small and medium enterprises, they are listed on innovators growth platform. So in addition to their original requirements, they have to follow some additional requirements.
Additional disclosure requirement
Yes.
under SSC.
So there could be two types of companies. Now, one who are already listed, and second, those who are yet to be listed. Because NPOs could not be listed earlier. So for NPOs, they are talking separately, and for profit enterprises separately. Because for profit enterprises, they may or may not be listed. So that is the point actually.
Okay.
So disclosure as per SEBI ICDR regulations. So disclosure norms for NPOs on social stock exchange. So first of all, the Social Stock Exchange, under the guidance of Social Stock Exchange Governing Council, shall mandate the structure of the draft fundraising document, final fundraising document. So the Social Stock Exchange, what it will do under the guidance of Social Stock Exchange Governing Council. Like there is a governing council in case of this GST also. GST council is there. So similarly, they are forming a Social Stock Exchange Governing Council. So under its guidance, the Social Stock Exchange will mandate the structure of the draft fundraising document or final fundraising document. SSC shall host such requirements on its website. So they will be hosting this requirement on their website. So something similar to prospectus. SSC shall ensure that the documents contain the following minimum disclosures. First is regarding the vision. So organizations' activities, interventions and programs, they are in line with aims and objects stated in its constitution. So first of all, we have to see that the organizations, activities, interventions and programs, they are in line with aims and objects which are stated in its constitutional document. Second is the target segment. The organization has defined its target segment and reach to accomplish its planned activities. Clear identification and understanding of the target segment, those affected by the problem, and how are they affected. The NPO must disclose how its approach intends to improve inclusion for its customers or recipients. So this is the first thing is regarding vision. Second will be regarding the target segment. Third is regarding the strategy. Now regarding strategy, strategy formulation towards accomplishing vision should take into account capabilities and learning from challenges. Next is regarding governance. So organization as a governing body and details of its governing body, composition, dates of board meetings held, key items covered. This all has to be disclosed. And for this, there will be a format of fundraising document, which the Social Stock Exchange will formulate under the guidance of Social Stock Exchange Governing Council. And it will have all these details regarding the vision, target segment, strategy, governance, management, then operations, finance, compliance, then credibility. So these are the requirements. Regarding finance, disclosure of financial statements for the last 3 financial years in accordance with guidelines for NPOs issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants. So we might have to go through those guidelines also for NPOs, which are issued by Institute of Chartered Accountants. Then compliance, organizations make available annual accounts duly audited for the latest 3 financial years. And there are no material qualifications or material irregularities reported by its auditors. Compliances with respect to income tax, notices received, etc. So all these things will have to be given in the minimum initial disclosure document. Then credibility, documents such as registration, trust deed, memorandum of association and articles of association, address proof, IT PAN, etc., FCRA certificates and returns, remuneration to governing members. Then social impact, details of past social impact in terms of parameters as stipulated by SEBI. Then risks. So disclose risks that the NPO sees to its work and how it proposes to mitigate these, and unintended consequences that the NPO sees from its work and how it proposes to mitigate it. So risks which are already persisting, how it will mitigate them, and unintended consequences and the proposal to mitigate them. So these are the minimum initial disclosure requirements, which the Social Stock Exchange, under the guidance of Social Stock Exchange Governing Council, will mandate. Now, disclosure norms under SEBI ICDR regulations. So there are certain norms disclosure by for-profit social enterprises. So for-profit social enterprises whose designated securities are listed on the stock exchange. So there could be certain for-profit enterprises whose designated securities are listed on the stock exchange. So they shall comply with the disclosure requirements contained in these regulations with respect to issuers whose specified securities are listed on the main board or SM exchange or Innovators Growth Platform, as the case may be. But in addition to this, we have to see that as per SEBI regulations, which are the cases where they can be listed on the main board, what are the cases in which they can be listed on SME exchange, and what are the cases in which they can get themselves listed on Innovators Growth Platform, like for these startups, etc. So I'll be sharing that PPT also. Now, disclosure by non-profit organization. So a not-for-profit organization registered on the Social Stock Exchange, including a not-for-profit organization whose designated securities are listed on the Social Stock Exchange, shall be required to make following annual disclosures to the Social Stock Exchange on matters specified by SEBI within 60 days from the end of the financial year. So NPO, which are registered with the Social Stock Exchange, including a not-for-profit organization whose designated securities are listed on the Social Stock Exchange. So they will be making these annual disclosures within 60 days from the end of the financial year. First are disclosures on general aspects. Second are disclosures on governance aspects. And third are disclosures on financial aspects. And some additional parameters may be required to be disclosed. And a guidance note in respect of the above aspects is given in Annexure 4. So first, let us see the disclosures on general aspects. So general aspects will naturally cover the name of the organization, legal and popular name, then location of headquarters and location of operations, vision, mission, purpose, organizational goals. I think we can go through this. Outreach, scale of operations, details of top donors or investors of organization, list of top 5 donors or investors budget wise, then details of top 5 programs in disclosure period. So list of top 5 interventions. So this disclosure has to be made on an annual basis. It says on annual disclosure. Then disclosures on governance aspects. So regarding governance, how it will be different from general aspects? So basically, it will be covering the governing body, say board, management, ownership, and legal form. Then details of governing body, executives, number of meetings by governing body and other committee, organizational level potential risks and mitigation plan, reporting of related party transactions, mechanism for advice and concerns about ethics, along with conflict of interest and communicating other critical concerns. Then remuneration policies, stakeholders grievance, compliance management procedures. So all these things will be covered in governance aspects. Then organization, registration certificate, etc., etc. Third is the disclosure on financial aspects. So first general aspects, then governance aspects, and third is financial aspects. So financial statements, balance sheet, income statement, and cash statement. Also program-wise fund utilization for the year, and auditor's report and auditor details. So these are the disclosure on financial aspects. Then Social Stock Exchange, it may specify additional parameters that may be required to be disclosed by NPO on an annual basis. And a guidance note in respect of the above aspects is provided in Annexure 4. So now let us go directly to Annexure 4 and see what is the requirement. So this it is given on page number 191. This is the guidance note for listed oblique registered NPOs on disclosure. So general disclosures. Name of the organization shall report on the legally registered name and also any popular names. Then location of headquarters and location of operations. So headquarter refers to the address that the organization has used in registering with the respective regulatory body, and also the organization's administrative center from which it is controlled or directed. In case the locations are different, it needs to be specified. Then location of operations shall cover the name of the locations where the organization has significant operation, and significant shall be defined to the scope of this document. Then vision, mission, purpose. So purpose is the context in why the organization is existing, and explaining why the cause taken up by the organization matters. So mission will explain how you are working in the context of the purpose, and vision in the context of this disclosure will be about where the organization is headed and what will be the organization achievement. It is possible that all organizations may not have all the three: vision, mission, and purpose as a stated document. Then organizational goals, activities, products and services, outreach. Outreach will include the type and number of direct, indirect, and institutional beneficiaries or stakeholders reached across different programs and geographies. Then scale of operations, including employee and volunteer strength. So scale of operations shall be explained by net turnover oblique annual budget oblique annual amount spent in the last 3 years. Number of beneficiaries, number of locations of operations, number of employees and volunteers. So total number of employees shall be disclosed separately as permanent employees, temporary employees, and employees on contract basis. The nature and scale of activities performed by volunteers shall be disclosed, and the organization shall disclose the scale of operations either at a national level or at a state or district level as may be useful. Now, top donors. Regarding list of top 5 donors, the disclosure has to be given, like whether he is a donor or investor, then geography, total program cost, expenditure in current year, then cumulative expenditure, total outreach, then SDG goal or target, and alignment with the national oblique state scheme or priority. So they want to go behind the funders also, who are the top 5 donors or investors budget wise. Then details of top 5 programs in disclosure period. So list of top 5 interventions or programs budget wise. Then governance disclosures. So ownership and legal form. So sustainable development goal or target, geography, total program cost, expenditure, cumulative. Governance structure. So it will start from the highest governance body, committees, subcommittees, standing, ad hoc, under the highest governing body, and the organization hierarchy for decision making. So it outlines board and management committee structures, mandates, membership, charters, policies, and internal controls. Then details of highest governing body, including names of the members of the body. Then executives with key responsibilities. ये organization में आ गया. Number of meetings, then organization level potential risk mitigation, reporting on related party transactions, then mechanisms for advice and concern about ethics, etc., remuneration policies, stakeholders concern, compliance management process, and organization chart. So this was regarding the governance aspect. Now regarding financial disclosure. So in this case, ICAI shall notify the uniform accounting and reporting framework. So it is not yet come. However, the following disclosure shall be made by the NPO in respect of financials. So balance sheet, income statement, cash statement, program-wise fund utilization, percentage of organizational budget that issue represents. Then breakup of organizational budget and expenditure, and split of the budget across partners of the project or initiative is being jointly executed. Auditor's report and details of the auditor. So these are all covered in financial disclosures. So this was regarding Annexure 4. Now we will go again back to the disclosures. So we were on chapter 186. So we have seen the details which are given in Annexure 4. Now, intimations and disclosures by social enterprises of events or information to social stock exchange. So first was the general disclosures, then are certain intimations and disclosures by social enterprises of events or information. A social and the earlier disclosures, they are to be made on an annual basis. Now, regarding these intimations and disclosures by the social enterprise of events or information, a social enterprise whose designated securities are listed shall frame a policy for determination of materiality duly approved by its board or management, as the case may be, which shall be disclosed on the social stock exchange or social stock exchanges. So they may be listed on one or they may be listed on more stock exchanges. And in this case, they will display on the website. A policy regarding determination of materiality duly approved by its board or management. Now, the board and management of the social enterprise shall authorize one or more of its KMPs for the purpose of determining materiality of an event or information and for the purpose of making disclosures to the social stock exchange or social stock exchanges, as the case may be. Under this regulation, and the contact details of such personnel shall also be disclosed to the social stock exchange or stock exchanges. So they will identify one person, they will authorize one or more KMPs who will be responsible. So something similar to the concept of a responsible officer. Then a social enterprise whose designated securities are listed on the social stock exchange or exchanges, as the case may be, shall disclose to the social stock exchange where it is registered or has listed its specified securities, as the case may be, any event that may have a material impact on the planned achievement of output or outcomes. The disclosure referred to in sub-regulation 3 shall be made as soon as reasonably possible, but not later than 7 days or within such period as may be specified by SEBI from the occurrence of the event. Suppose they have done some event, so disclosure has to be made as soon as possible, as soon as reasonably possible, but not later than 7 days or within such period as may be specified by SEBI from the occurrence of the event, and shall comprise details of the event, including the potential impact of the event and the steps being taken by the social enterprise to address the same. Why this thing? Because sometimes organizations are booking expenditure showing that, okay, they did these events, but they are not doing anything. So that is why they say you inform us as soon as reasonably possible, or not later than 7 days, so that the social stock exchange, they can check if they want to check whether that event has actually happened or the organization is just booking the expenditure. That may be the idea basically. Including the potential impact of the event and the steps being taken by the social enterprise to address the same. Then the social enterprise shall provide update on a regular basis along with the relevant explanations in respect of the disclosures required in sub-regulation 3 till the time the concerned event remains material. The social enterprise shall provide specific and adequate reply to all queries raised by the social stock exchange, as the case may be, with respect to any events or information. So they have to disclose this policy on the website of the social stock exchange, and they have to intimate as soon as reasonably possible, or maximum not later than 7 days, or within such extended period as may be specified in the regulations. Provided that the social stock exchange or stock exchanges, as the case may be, shall disseminate the information and clarification as soon as reasonably practical. The social enterprise may suo motu confirm or deny any reported event or information to social stock exchange, as the case may be. Now they may confirm or deny. Suppose some event, the NPO reported that, okay, we have done this event, but no such event actually happens because the social stock exchange, they inquired into it. So they may, the social enterprise may suo motu confirm or deny any reported event or information, as the case may be. So now the social enterprise, they may also suo motu confirm or deny any reported event or information. The social enterprise shall disclose on its website all such events or information which have been disclosed to the social stock exchange or the stock exchanges, as the case may be, under this regulation. So why this facility
Sir,
of confirmation or denial is given? This facility is given because sometimes due to inadvertent error, something might have been uploaded on the website, so they can withdraw. It is some sort of withdrawal in the form of confirmation or denial. Hanji, please.
no, no.
Acha,
I have a doubt why this SSC is allowed to deny the reported event. That's the answer was in the next clause. Why it is denied? Deny. They can deny. Why they can deny? Something already they reported and why they can deny?
No. Actually, sometimes what happens is, by all these things will be uploaded through computer only. So it might be that okay, they are doing 5 events, but they uploaded under wrong category. So it is some sort, they are giving them the permission to withdraw in a say. Because
this was
sometimes let me explain it to you. Suppose they organized a conference, but due to some say exigency, that conference could not be organized, because of say weather conditions, because the speakers did not turn up, because the venue, there was fire at the venue. So there could be, and because I think first of all they will be uploaded prior to that event happening, and so there could be facility regarding that. No? So in such cases, so they may deny that okay, no such event happened.
okay, understood. This was a question actually.
Yes. So the social enterprise shall disclose, like in case of CPRs also, like we are running a study circle. So what we do, we upload the information before the organization of the event. And there could be a chance that that event may not actually happen. So then we will cancel it, or we'll say that, okay, no such event happened. So the social enterprise shall disclose on its website all such events or information which have been disclosed to the social stock exchange or the stock exchanges, as the case may be, under this regulation. Now, disclosure of annual impact report by all social enterprises. What is this? A social enterprise which is either registered with or has raised funds through a social stock exchange, or because actually all these implications, these disclosure requirements, they will be applicable only to the listed entities. In case of SEBI also, normally the provisions are applicable to those entities who have got themselves listed with the stock exchange. So similar is the requirement here. So for those entities who are either registered or they have raised funds through the social stock exchange, so they shall be required to submit an annual impact report to the social stock exchange or the stock exchange in the format specified by SEBI from time to time. The annual impact report shall be audited by a social audit firm employing a social auditor. Then the social stock exchange may specify parameters in addition to those specified by SEBI, which shall be required to be disclosed by a social enterprise on an annual basis. So disclosure of annual impact report by all social enterprises which have registered or raised funds using social stock exchange in terms of regulation 91E of the LODR regulations include the following. Now what they include? All social enterprises will have to provide a duly audited annual impact report to social stock exchange within 90 days from the end of the financial year. So within 90 days, they have to provide a duly audited annual impact report. The annual impact report shall capture the qualitative and quantitative aspects of the social impact generated by the entity, and where applicable, the impact that it is generated by the project or solution for which funds have been raised on social stock exchange. Now, in case an NPO is only registered without listing any security, so there could be a situation where NPO is registered but it has not listed any security. So the annual impact report must cover the NPO's significant activities, intervention, programs or projects during the year, and the methodology for determination of significance must be explained. Additionally, if there is an activity, intervention, program or project covered under listed security, it will qualify as a significant activity, intervention, program or project. Now for a social impact fund, where the underlying recipients of funds are social enterprises which have registered or raised funds through using social stock exchange, must disclose an overall annual impact report for the fund covering all investee grantee organizations where the fund is deployed. Then the AIR should at a minimum cover the aspects described below. So these are the minimum details. So first is the strategic intent and planning. So what is the social or environmental challenge that the organization and all the instrument listed is addressing, and has this changed in the last year? This is the first point. Second is how the organization is attending to the challenges or planning to attend to the challenge. So has this changed in the last year? Who is being impacted? Target segment. And has this changed in the last year? So basically 2 years information. Because how you will substantiate the change? Because you will be giving the last year's figures also. And what will be the outcome of the activities, interventions, programs, or projects? So disclosure should include positive and potential unintended negative outcomes. Then approach. So first point was regarding the strategic intent and planning. Second is approach. Third is impact scorecard. So regarding approach, what is the baseline status, situation analysis, context description at the start of the activity, intervention, programs or project, and at the end of the last reporting period. What has been the past performance trend, if relevant? What is the solution implementation plan? And the measures taken for sustainability of the activity, intervention, programs or project outcomes. So has there been any material change? Alignment of solutions to sustainable development goals, national priorities, state priorities, developmental priorities. Then how have you taken into consideration stakeholders' feedback in the reporting period? In the last year, what have you seen as the biggest risk to the achievement of the desired impact? And how are they being mitigated? Then impact scorecard. So what are the metrics mentioned, monitored, and what has been the trend? Then briefly include narratives of impact on target segments in the reporting period. Beneficiaries, stakeholders validation through surveys and other feedback mechanisms. Then social stock exchange may specify additional parameters that may be required to be disclosed by the social enterprise in its annual impact report. The annual impact report shall be audited by social auditors, and the social enterprises shall disclose the report of the social auditor along with the annual impact report. And a guidance in respect of the above aspects is provided at Annexure 5. So let us see the Annexure at 5 before we request Rajesh ji to please share his experience. So let us go through Annexure 5 and then Rajesh ji will be sharing his experience. Annexure 5 देख लेते हैं क्या है. ये Annexure 5 195 पर दे रखा है.
Here, actually, this social auditor has to submit to the annual impact report.
हाँ. नहीं आप क्या you are asking a question or what? What is your question? थोड़ा वॉइस ब्रेक हो रहा है आपका, प्लीज रिपीट. क्या बोला आपने सोनी जी? बीच में ना वॉइस आपका ब्रेक हो गया. आई कुड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड योर क्वेश्चन प्लीज.
My question was, there are two reports, right? Annual, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
There are two reports, right? One is a social audit report and the annual impact report.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, these are two reports. Annual impact report is something like board report. Audit report is just like financial audit report. So that way you can understand, I think. आप ऐसे समझ लो, जैसे इन फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट में भी कंपनीज में भी तो होता है ना, एक बोर्ड रिपोर्ट अलग रहती है, डायरेक्टर्स रिपोर्ट, बोर्ड रिपोर्ट रहती है, और फिर अपना ऑडिट रिपोर्ट है, तो समथिंग सिमिलर. Now, Annexure 5. Annexure 5 is guidance notes for all social enterprises on annual impact report. So first is the strategic intent and planning. So what is the social or environmental challenge the organization or the instrument listed is addressing? The problem statement, challenges, its extent, causes and consequences, and how the organization is planning to attend to the challenges or attending to the challenge. Then who is being impacted? ठीक है, टारगेट सेगमेंट क्या है? यूजुअली अराउंड वन और मोर ऑफ द थ्री डायमेंशंस, इनकम, ज्योग्राफी के हिसाब से, फिर थीमेटिक इशू के हिसाब से. थीमेटिक इशू में जेंडर, कास्ट, कम्युनिटी आ जाएगा. ठीक है. एंड वेयर द टारगेट सेगमेंट इज अ स्पेसिफिक ज्योग्राफिक रीजन इन इट्स एंटायरिटी स्टेट. सो ठीक है. तो थीमेटिक इश्यूज कुड बी वन और मोर ऑफ द फॉलोइंग: कंजर्वेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, जनरेशन via renewable resources, reduction in waste, conservation, say of land, wildlife. Bring out the possible deviations that might have occurred in the reporting period. Now, what will be the outcomes of the solution or program? Then approach क्या रहने वाली है आपकी, ये सब आपको एनुअल इम्पैक्ट रिपोर्ट में देना है. Then what past performance क्या है, solution implementation plan क्या है, alignment लाइए, how have you taken into consideration stakeholders feedback, and in the last year what have you seen as the biggest risk to the achievement, ठीक है, and how they are mitigated. फिर impact scorecard. Impact scorecard आपका क्या है, what are the metrics monitored and what has been the trend, ठीक है. फिर रीच कैसे रही आपकी, डेप्थ क्या रही, ये सारा आपको इसके अंदर देना है अपनी ये जो एनुअल इम्पैक्ट रिपोर्ट है. डेप्थ में आ जाएगा डेप्थ ऑफ द इम्पैक्ट ऑन द मीडियन इंडिविजुअल, ठीक है, ऑफ द टारगेट पॉपुलेशन. जैसे सर्वेज में क्या है, 1% ऑफ द कस्टमर्स रिसीवमेंट और एटलीस्ट 200 रिस्पोंडेंट्स पर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. आस्किंग रिस्पोंडेंट्स, हैज योर क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ चेंज्ड, with response options being very much improved, slightly improved, no change, got slightly worse, got much worse. तो इस तरह से, ठीक है. उसके बाद में डेप्थ देना. डेप्थ मतलब दिस इज जस्ट एन एग्जांपल. वो बोलेगा कि वी सर्वेड 5% ऑफ द कस्टमर्स और रिसिपिएंट और एटलीस्ट 500 रिस्पोंडेंट्स. ठीक है, इतना तो मिनिमम करना ही पड़ेगा जब लिखा है तो इतना, इससे ज्यादा ही कर सकते हो आप, कम नहीं कर सकते. देन ऑल्टरनेटिवली stock exchange, the social enterprise can compare itself to different case studies of high, medium or low depth organization. ठीक है. Then inclusion, the social enterprise must consider for itself how its approach intends to improve inclusion for its customers, recipients, etc. ठीक है. जैसे थीम 1 क्या दे दिया, नेट इंक्रीज इन इनकम लेवल ऑफ कस्टमर. थीम 2 दे दिया डाइवर्सिटी एंड इंक्लूजन. फिर दे दिया सोशल इक्विटी और व्हाट आर द हाइलाइट्स, और फिर बेनिफिशियरी या स्टेक होल्डर्स का वैलिडेशन के पॉजिटिव या नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट. ये आपको देना है आपका ये जो है एनुअल इम्पैक्ट रिपोर्ट में. तो नाउ आई विल रिक्वेस्ट राजेश जी